DC put out a new version of Batman Long Halloween by Loeb and Sale. This was right around Halloween time, and by the time you're seeing this, it will have been a couple of months ago. I'm recording this Thanksgiving weekend, and it's taken me this long just to get a good recording of it because I tried twice so far. The first time was just a shambles. I couldn't get my thoughts together. And the second time I didn't talk enough about Sale's art, so I'd like to do that straight away this time. So here I set a couple of bookmarks. And just check out this 2-page spread. I mean, this is gorgeous. And this is one of my favorite sequences in the whole book. I'm going to talk more about the Bruce, Selina, Batman, Catwoman connection later, but this panel in particular, I love it. And I've got one more here. It's just really powerful stuff. And it's stuff like this that reminds me of Eduardo Risso. So I don't know who his influences are, but I wouldn't at all be surprised if Sale was one of them. Because the heavy blacks, it's really, really powerful stuff. Love it. I actually don't remember the first time I read Long Halloween. I suspect it was on lunches while sitting at a Barnes & Noble. I had a bookstore that was within walking distance of one of my old jobs, and I used to go over there, sit in those comfy chairs, and read comics on lunch. So I think that's where I read both Long Halloween and Hush back in the day, because I didn't own this until just now. DC are putting out new versions, seemingly of Loeb and Sale works. They're also doing a Dark Victory, and this is another page I want to show you because I was just flipping through this before the video, and look at this. This guy's a master. Love it. So they're doing, I believe, Dark Victory and possibly also Haunted Night. I'd have to double check that. New editions coming soon in a similar hardcover style to this. So now I finally own it, and I'm super happy. I've been waiting for this for a long time. It's hard to imagine anyone being unfamiliar with such a famous, excellent, good story from a couple of decades ago, but for anyone that is, there is a killer in Gotham that's targeting crime family members and killing them on holidays over the course of a year. There's material at the back here, so the series itself is 13 issues long, but then there's a bunch of material here at the back talking about the development of the story as well, and it was intended to be a sort of follow-up to Frank Miller's Batman Year One. What I found slightly weird about that is Arkham is already full of a set of recognizable Batman villains. So they clearly already exist, and they have been caught and are currently locked up. Some of them escape in this series, and I find it a little bit strange if it's so early in Batman's career that so many both exist and have already been captured. It's one of those things where reading it doesn't quite line up with my memories of the book, and again, it was many years ago, so it's entirely my fault, not the book's. So there's also the story of Batman and Catwoman, Bruce and Selina, and I showed off that image earlier in the video. It's that relationship is one of my favorite in all of Bat media. Firstly, there's always the question of whether or not she knows, and I guess also is whether or not he knows. So that always depends on who's writing it, but I love that dynamic, how they treat each other differently in costume versus out, and here we're watching that relationship over the course of a year change and evolve, and I love it. So there's a lot going on. In addition to the murder mystery, it's again these three, it's him and Selina, it's really good. If you haven't guessed by now, I absolutely recommend this book. The hardcover is fantastic. I have a strong preference for hardcovers, but even if you find it as softcover, I absolutely recommend it. This is two creators at their peak. They also did some excellent stories for Marvel with Daredevil, Hulk, Spider-Man. I never read the Captain America, that came much later, but all of it fantastic. I love it. I haven't decided whether or not to get the Dark Victory hardcover since I already own the softcover. However, flipping through this just before I started filming, I realized how little of this I remember. So I will probably give this a reread. No schedule at the moment, but I need to get further ahead on some of the books that I haven't read yet before I start rereading any of that. But odds are very good. I will reread that, do a video on that as well. I just don't know the timing, but this is great. Highly recommended. And I want to show off one more page before I leave. This is pretty early on, but this is another one that's just phenomenal. So, the Falcone Warehouse of Money. I love it.